Imagine this. You're walking through the crowded streets of ancient Rome. The year is 67 AD. Sunlight reflects off marble columns. Merchants shout. Sandals scrape across stone. And suddenly, you see something that makes your blood run cold. Emperor Nero, the most powerful man in the world, is strolling through the forum. And beside him walks a young woman, draped in silks and jewels, moving with a grace that draws every eye. But behind them, whispers ripple through the crowd. Because everyone knows the truth. That woman was once a boy named Sporus. What Nero did to him remains one of the most disturbing acts of psychological and physical manipulation in all of recorded history. But this story is not just about cruelty. It is about obsession, grief, madness, and the way absolute power can reshape another human being's life until nothing remains of who they once were. And once you hear this story, I promise you, you will never forget the name Sporus. Nero's rise to power began with hope. He was only 16 when he became emperor, a boy thrust into a role meant for gods. He lowered taxes, opened the treasury, performed for the public, and Romans believed a golden age had begun. But power, true, unquestioned power, always leaves a scar. Over time, Nero grew paranoid, surrounded by flatterers, never challenged, never contradicted. He drifted into a world where fantasy mattered more than truth. And then came Poppaea Sabina, a woman of stunning beauty, razor intelligence, and ambition sharp enough to cut through marble. Nero fell into obsession. What began as a scandalous affair became a consuming fire. He showered her with priceless gifts, silks from China, jewels from India, perfumes from Arabia, and anyone who drew her attention risked Nero's rage. He divorced Octavia, his first wife. He isolated Poppaea. He made her the center of his world and demanded the world revolve around her. But obsession is a fragile thing. One day in 65 AD, Poppaea confronted Nero. She was pregnant, emotional, tired of his behavior. She challenged his priorities, his obsessions, his failures, and Nero lost control. Ancient sources disagree on the exact details, but all agree on the outcome. In a moment of blind rage, Nero struck Poppaea. Maybe it was a single blow, maybe more, but she fell, and she never rose again. The unborn child died with her, and in that moment, something inside Nero shattered beyond repair. He refused to burn her body according to tradition. He embalmed her, built her a tomb fit for a goddess, and spoke to her corpse for days, as though she might answer. Courtiers were forced to pretend she still lived. At banquets, her seat remained open. Anyone who suggested Nero should move on was exiled or killed. Rome had seen madness before, but nothing like this. And then Nero saw Sporus, a young teenager, educated, quiet, raised in the imperial household, and freed from slavery. But none of that mattered. What mattered was that Sporus resembled Poppaea, not just vaguely, uncannily, especially around the eyes, the delicate bone structure. In Nero's broken mind, this was a sign, a message, a chance to undo the irreversible. There was only one problem. Sporus was male. But to a man who believed he was a god, who believed he could command even death, this was no obstacle. Nero ordered his physicians, the finest in Rome, to make Sporus more feminine, permanently. The procedure was brutal, primitive, dangerous, and irreversible. Sporus survived, but the boy he once was did not. When he recovered, Nero made an announcement that stunned even Rome's most jaded elites. He would marry Sporus. He renamed him Sabina, Poppaea's name. He dressed him in silk, painted his face, arranged his hair in elaborate curls, taught him to walk, speak, and gesture like a woman. Every morning, Sporus faced a mirror and saw not himself, but the reflection of a dead empress. In spring of 67 AD, Nero held the wedding. It was grand, lavish, magnificent, a spectacle of wealth beyond imagination. But beneath the beauty was something deeply wrong. The Emperor of Rome had married a teenage boy, reshaped in the image of his dead wife. And from that moment on, Sporus lived as Nero's empress. He dined with him, traveled with him, sat beside him in public, responded when Nero called him Poppaea, pretended to share memories of a life he never lived. For more than 2 years, Sporus played this role perfectly, because one mistake could mean death. But Nero's empire was collapsing. Rebellions ignited across the provinces. The Praetorian Guard abandoned him. Even the Senate declared him an enemy. Nero fled Rome with a handful of loyalists, including Sporus. But soon after, Nero took his own life, and Sporus was left alone. He became a possession, passed from one powerful man to another, each forcing him to continue Nero's delusion, each calling him Poppaea, each treating him not as a person, but as an object, until Vitellius. The new emperor planned something unthinkable. He intended to throw Sporus into the arena, to reenact a myth in which a woman is violated and killed. A final humiliation, a final degradation, before thousands. Faced with this, Sporus made the only choice that was truly his. He ended his life, a quiet act of defiance and escape. He was about 20 years old. Sporus' story is often a footnote in history, but it should not be, because behind the marble statues, the grand palaces, the glory of Rome, there were real human beings who suffered and broke and endured the whims of power. Sporus was denied everything: his identity, his body, his future. But in the end, he reclaimed one thing: the right to choose his fate. And that is why his story matters. If you want more dark, forgotten stories from history, don't forget to like the video and subscribe, and tell me where you're watching from. It's incredible that we explore these ancient stories together from all around the world.